You are watching a video about boredom because you were bored. Let that sit for a second. You were so bored that you clicked on something to explain why you're bored. Your dog is not doing this right now. Your cat is not doing this right now. The pigeon outside your window is absolutely not doing this right now. Every single animal on this planet, from chimpanzees to dolphins to the borderline genius octopus that scientists keep discovering can open jars and recognize human faces, none of them are lying on a couch staring at the ceiling feeling vaguely dissatisfied with existence. Only you are. Only humans are. And the reason why reaches into the deepest, most uniquely human corners of your brain. And it explains something about you that you probably never expected. First, let's destroy the thing everyone thinks boredom is. Because you're wrong about it. Everyone is wrong about it. Boredom is not the absence of things to do. You have a phone, you have the internet, you have access to more entertainment than every human being who ever lived before 1990 combined. You could watch every film ever made and not finish before you die. And you're still bored. So it's clearly not about having nothing to do. James Dankert, cognitive neuroscientist at the University of Waterloo, has spent 20 years studying boredom and argues it is not simply another name for depression or apathy. It is a specific mental state, a lack of stimulation that leaves people craving relief. Notice what he said, a lack of stimulation. Not a lack of things, a lack of the right kind of stimulation. Your brain, right now in this moment, is running an extraordinarily complex evaluation of every available activity around you. And it is finding them all insufficient, not because they're bad, but because they don't match what your brain actually needs in this moment. According to Professor Brian Little, boredom provides physiological and psychological motivation to search for new activities or pursue different projects. In other words, boredom is not a feeling of emptiness. It is a signal, a very loud, very annoying alarm going off inside your skull. The alarm says, what you're doing right now is not enough. Find something better. Find something meaningful. Move. Your brain is not failing when you're bored. It is demanding more from you, which is either inspiring or deeply exhausting depending on how you look at it. Personally, both. Now, about those animals. Because the title of this video makes a claim, a big one. No other animal gets bored. Is that actually true? Sort of. And the sort of is fascinating. Animals can absolutely experience something that looks like boredom from the outside. A dog left alone all day will chew your sofa. A parrot in a small cage will pull out its own feathers. A polar bear in a zoo will pace the same path in circles until it wears a groove into the concrete. That looks like boredom, but it isn't. Not in the human sense. What those animals are experiencing is frustration, stress, suppressed instinct. Their bodies need to hunt or run or forage, and they physically cannot. That is not boredom. That is a caged instinct looking for an exit. Human boredom is something completely different. Because human boredom doesn't require a cage. You can be on a beautiful beach in perfect weather with nowhere to be and no responsibilities whatsoever, and be catastrophically, deeply, existentially bored. No animal does this. A dog on a beach is the happiest creature in the universe. Smells, wind, sand, other dogs, possibly a dead fish somewhere. Paradise. A human on a beach after 2 hours starts wondering if they're using their life well. Whether their career is going anywhere, whether this is really what they wanted, whether they should have brought a book. The difference is not circumstances. The difference is the kind of brain you have. Jacqueline Gottlieb, neuroscientist at Columbia's Zuckerman Mind-Brain Behavior Institute, calls boredom a universal human experience and notes that until very recently, scientists paid it almost no scientific attention, despite it being one of the most common states humans experience. The most common state humans experience, and scientists mostly ignored it, because even scientists apparently found it too boring to study. Here is where your brain does something no other brain on Earth does. When you're bored, when your brain isn't engaged with any specific task, a network of brain regions activates that neuroscientists call the default mode network. The DMN, think of it as what your brain does when it has nothing to do. It doesn't rest, it doesn't shut off, it turns inward, it starts thinking about you, your past, your future, your relationships, your mistakes, your unrealized potential. That embarrassing thing you said at a party in 2014 that you still think about sometimes for no reason whatsoever. The default mode network is the part of your brain responsible for self-reflection, mental time travel, imagination, and planning. It is also, and this is the part that explains everything, the most uniquely human brain structure ever identified. Other animals have nothing like it. A lion lying in the sun is not reflecting on whether it's living up to its potential as a predator. A goldfish is not mentally time-traveling to last Tuesday and wondering if it made the right choice. Only you do this. And it is both your greatest gift and your most exhausting curse. Because the same brain network that makes you capable of writing symphonies and building civilizations and imagining futures that don't exist yet is the exact same network that makes you lie on the sofa at 3 p.m. on a Sunday, feeling vaguely terrible about everything while staring at the ceiling. The capacity for genius and the capacity for boredom are the same thing. Same network, same brain, same you. In 2014, a team of psychologists at the University of Virginia ran an experiment. The setup was simple. They put people in a room, alone, no phone, no book, no entertainment, just a chair. And one other thing, a button. The button delivered a mild electric shock when pressed. Before the experiment began, every participant was asked if they would pay money to avoid being shocked. Every single one said yes. Then they were left alone in the room for 15 minutes. With nothing to do, 67% of men shocked themselves. 25% of women shocked themselves. One man shocked himself 190 times in 15 minutes. Not because the shock felt good, but because it was something. Because the human brain, your brain, would rather experience pain than experience nothing. Studies of binge eating find boredom is one of the most frequent triggers, along with depression and anxiety. In a study using a driving simulator, people prone to boredom drove at higher speeds, took longer to respond to unexpected hazards, and drifted more frequently over the center line. Boredom doesn't just make you uncomfortable, it makes you dangerous to yourself, to others, to the center line. 190 shocks in 15 minutes because sitting quietly was worse. Okay, here's the part where I tell you something you didn't expect. Boredom might be the most important thing that ever happened to humanity. Stay with me. Psychologist Sandy Mann conducted a study where one group copied numbers from a phone book and another group recited those numbers out loud, a more boring task. Afterward, both groups were asked to brainstorm creative uses for 2 paper cups. The group with the more boring assignment came up with significantly more creative responses, including earrings, instruments, and a Madonna-style bra. The most bored group was the most creative group, by a significant margin. And when you look at human history through that lens, something extraordinary becomes visible. Every great human invention began with boredom. Agriculture, invented by humans who were bored of chasing animals through fields and thought, what if the food just came to us? Writing, invented by humans who were bored of trying to remember things and thought, what if I just put it somewhere? Music, art, mathematics, religion, philosophy, science itself. All of it traces back to a human brain that wasn't sufficiently stimulated by what existed and refused to accept that. James Dankert describes boredom as a call to action, a motivating force that when channeled correctly pushes people toward meaning, creativity, and engagement with the world. Your dog will never invent anything. Your cat will never create anything. The pigeon outside your window has never once looked at the sky and thought, I wonder if I could do this better. But you have. Because you get bored, because your brain refuses to accept insufficient stimulation, because somewhere in the default mode network, in that restless, relentless, uniquely human inner voice that never shuts up, is the same force that built the pyramids. Wrote Shakespeare, put humans on the moon. It just sometimes also makes you shock yourself 190 times in 15 minutes. Progress is complicated. Right now, 63% of American adults experience boredom at least once every 10 days. Every single one of them is carrying something no other creature on Earth has ever carried. A brain so sophisticated, so hungry, so completely unwilling to accept a world that doesn't match its potential. That it would rather feel pain than feel nothing, that it invented fire because darkness wasn't good enough, that it built cities because caves weren't good enough, that it is, right now, in this moment, watching a video about boredom because simply existing wasn't enough. You are not bored because something is wrong with you. You are bored because something is extraordinarily right with you. Your brain is working exactly as it was designed.